When my mother-in-law hit my pregnant belly, my world stopped. The shock and pain sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't believe someone would harm me, let alone the unborn child I carried. With urgency, I found myself rushing to the hospital, my mind racing with fear. Little did I know, the nightmare was just beginning. "What were you thinking?" my husband, Derek, shouted at his mother as he helped me up. I leaned on his arm as I tried to stand up straight, but my stomach was hurting too much. The pain was etched over my face as I tried not to scream. All sorts of thoughts raced through my head, all about my baby. Will she be all right? Derek helped me to our bed so I could lie down as we waited for the ambulance to arrive, hoping the pain would slowly go away. He and his mother were yelling at each other in the hallway. Tears streamed down my face as I held my belly, begging my little girl to stay inside. Suddenly, a contraction started, and I screamed for Derek. He rushed in, grabbing my hand. All I could do was scream and cry while my entire body was cramping. Derek looked under the blanket and told me not to worry, but his eyes told me otherwise. The pain was indescribable, unlike anything I had ever felt before. I tried to breathe through it, but it was too much for me to bear. My mother-in-law never truly accepted my relationship with her son, but I never expected her to do something like this. I had invited her over for dinner because we had found out the gender of our baby and wanted to tell her. I had prepared a pink dessert, hoping she would get the hint, but we never even got that far through dinner. As my husband put the main dish on the table, serving up our plates, my mother-in-law made a snark remark about Derek doing everything around the house. She didn't say I was lazy, but I knew her longer than today, and it was exactly what she meant when she turned to me and said, "And what have you done today, Stacy?" My hormones were surging through my body, and as much as I wanted to respond in a normal manner, I couldn't. "I've grown his child inside of me today, Hannah. Today and every day for the past 7.5 months. My mother-in-law turned up her nose, smiling condescendingly as if I had just proved her right. That struck the wrong nerve with me. Trying to keep it in but failing, I stood up, looking right into her eyes. "You know what, Hannah? I'm done with you looking down on me. I'm the mother of your future grandchild. Your first grandchild, for that matter. And if you don't start treating me like an equal, I'll make sure she won't even know your name." My mother-in-law looked shocked at Derek, to me, and back at Derek, waiting for her son to speak up. But she didn't know that Derek was on my side. He had also seen how his mother treated me and had actually planned on saying something about it after dinner. But there was something else she wasn't happy about. I could see it on her face. "It's a girl?" she finally said, looking disgusted. "Derek, look at me and listen. That child is not yours," she added, pointing at my pregnant belly. My stomach dropped. How could she say something like that? Derek was horrified as well, literally taking a step back from the table. "You're crossing a line you don't want to cross, Mother." "I've had 3 sons. My sister had a son and my brother had 2 sons. Girls just don't run in the family," she said, slightly starting to raise her voice. I could see she was beginning to get frustrated, but that was nothing compared to what I was feeling. "Get out of my house now," I demanded, pulling her chair back. Just as I turned to walk away to show Hannah the door, she did something horrifying. With a smirk that chilled me to the core, she lashed out, her fist connecting with my belly. I gasped, doubling over, pain spreading through my body like wildfire. Derek roared at her for crossing the line. I felt the air leave my lungs, stunned by her cruelty. She had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Everything seemed to slow down as I crumpled to the floor, cradling my belly. I'd never felt so vulnerable or exposed. Derek rushed to my side, his face twisted in worry. He guided me gently to the bed, his every movement filled with desperation. His hands trembled as he touched my shoulder. I could see the fear in his eyes. His silence spoke volumes, but his focus remained wholly on me. With panic in his voice, Derek grabbed the phone and called 911. his fingers clumsy with fear. He sounded calm as he relayed what had happened, but I could see his hands shaking. We both listened for the sirens, the room too quiet. Meanwhile, the pain was like a heartbeat all over my body. My thoughts were solely on the baby, silently pleading for everything to be all right. Despite everything, Hannah lingered outside, her emotions obvious. Before leaving, Derek slammed the door on her, his actions protective and decisive. I lay on the bed, the tears falling thick and fast. Every emotion I could name rose to the surface. Anger, confusion, fear, and even a touch of betrayal. She was family, but after this, nothing would be the same. The door might as well have been a wall. In the stillness, her words played on a loop, taunting me. Her reasons seemed absurd now, almost petty. How could anyone truly believe them? But amid all the pain, I tried to hold on to my resolve. I'd always known she had her issues with my place in the family, but I had always hoped. Now, I saw what it truly was. I just couldn't let it break me. Derek stayed beside me, gripping my hand tightly. His presence was a comfort in the madness. Time seemed to stretch endlessly. Every time I thought I heard sirens, I held my breath. It wasn't just for me, it was for Derek too, who was struggling silently. Every squeeze of my hand was a promise, a silent vow to stick together no matter what came next. At last, the faint sound of sirens broke the oppressive silence. Relief mixed with fear, as Derek reassured me everything would be all right. His voice cracked, betraying his worry, but I felt better knowing they were almost here. It was a strange comfort, the sound. It brought hope and a realization that things were going to change whether we were ready or not. Each contraction felt unlike anything imaginable, like waves crashing with unimaginable force. I gritted my teeth, trying not to let the pain overwhelm me. Every scream almost escaped, but was swallowed to keep Derek from panicking further. All I could think of was holding on long enough for help to come. For this trial to pass, with the baby unharmed, more than anything. I wanted our baby to be safe. I wasn't ready to say goodbye to our peaceful life, but I knew change was unstoppable now. Situations like this reordered a person's life in such a brutal way. Together, we'd have to navigate this new chapter, whatever it brought. I kept silently praying for our child's health, for everything to eventually be all right. Finally, help arrived. The paramedics rushed in with quiet efficiency, moving quickly and with purpose. They checked my vitals, their expressions serious but calm. Their presence carried a comfort I didn't know I needed. As they worked, I focused on their voices, hoping for reassurance. Everything was in motion. And suddenly it was like the world was spinning back to life. I felt a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Derek spoke in low tones with the paramedics, his words careful and measured. His gaze rarely strayed from me, eyes full of worry. I felt the world narrowing to just this moment. The paramedics, with steady hands, lifted me onto the stretcher. Their efficiency brought a strange peace amidst the chaos, as they prepared to move me to the ambulance that awaited us outside. As they wheeled me from the house, Derek and I shared a look that said everything without words. The ride in the ambulance was a dizzying mix of sights and sounds, sirens blaring in sync with our racing hearts. The flashing lights painted the night with urgency, each pulse mirroring our fear and hope intertwined with every breath. Every bump on the road made me wince, the pain shooting through me with every jolt. Derek stayed close, gripping my hand as if it were his anchor in this storm. His presence was steady, a reminder that I wasn't alone. Together we faced the overwhelming uncertainty ahead as the world outside blurred by. The hospital's entrance buzzed with activity as we arrived, the energy palpable. Nurses and doctors moved with purpose, their efficiency like a practiced dance. They guided us through, their focus clear despite the controlled chaos. Everything was happening so fast, yet there was a strange order in how they worked, like they knew exactly what needed to be done. I faded in and out of awareness, overwhelmed by the mixture of pain and fear. They wheeled me quickly to the maternity ward. Derek was by my side, providing the details needed to the medical team. His voice was steady, even if underneath it all, he was probably just as scared as I was. It was comforting, knowing he was there with me. The room felt heavy with tension as the medical team worked to assess my condition. I could feel the contractions, each more intense than the last, like relentless waves breaking over and over. The silence, filled only with the hurried footsteps and muted voices of the staff, pressed down on me as I clung to the hope that the baby would be okay. Every second seemed to drag on forever as time stretched and twisted around me. Derek paced back and forth, his worry as clear as daylight on his face. His eyes darted occasionally to mine, filled with confusion and hope. The room was a dull hum of activity, amplified by my own heightened senses. Amidst the sterile beeps and hums, I looked for some sort of solace. The machinery buzzed around, but my mind was stuck in loops of fear. Everything about the situation felt surreal, like I was caught in a nightmare I couldn't wake from. I just wanted our baby safe in this whirlwind of confusion. A doctor approached with an assured stride, her presence commanding the room's attention. She drew Derek aside, speaking quietly yet firmly. I strained to catch snippets of their conversation, desperate for any scrap of hope. Though I couldn't hear every word, Derek's body language told me he was concentrating hard, trying to process whatever the doctor was telling him. They talked about tests and potential risks, their words sending chills down my spine. I lay still, feeling the tension in the air like a tight cord about to snap. Nurses continued to move around us with practiced ease, ensuring everything was ready. The whole room felt charged, the air thick with unspoken fears and burgeoning hope. Derek sat back down, next to me, looking pale but trying to stay strong. He squeezed my hand like he was trying to give me some comfort. "We're going to get through this," he said, his voice shaky but determined. I could see the worry on his face, but he was putting on a brave front. I held on to his words, hoping they were true. The room felt like it was closing in on us as time ticked slowly by. It felt as though we were stuck in that sterile place, just waiting. As each second passed, the weight in my stomach grew heavier. Even the soft hum of machines couldn't distract me from the unease, which felt like a dense fog waiting to blanket everything. With everything going on, part of me wanted to desperately hold on to any glimmer of hope. The uncertainty about what was happening loomed large, almost swallowing me. But I refused to let it take over completely. Deep down, I clung to that little spark of hope, trying to keep it alive even as fear tried to snuff it out. A nurse entered, her calm demeanor providing a small break from my worries. She checked on the baby with careful precision, gently going through the motions. Her presence was soothing, almost like a soft lullaby in the silence, and it felt nice to have someone there who knew what they were doing. Her quiet manner eased some of the tension in the room. The nurse began to explain what she was doing in a calm, steady voice. Her soothing words offered a semblance of peace amidst the storm of emotions crashing within me. I watched her closely, searching for even a hint of good news in her expression. Seeing her calm face made me feel like maybe everything might turn out all right after all. With a focused expression, the nurse adjusted the monitors. The rhythmic beeping of the baby's heartbeat filled the room, creating a fragile sense of stability. Each beat reminded me of life beyond the pain, a small anchor in the uncertainty. I listened to the heartbeats closely, feeling grateful for the assurance they provided in a moment where everything was unclear. Derek held my hand even tighter, whispering silent prayers for everything to be okay.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story.
His grip was firm, grounding me in the moment, while I tried hard to keep worst-case scenarios from taking over my mind. Together, we focused on staying positive, shutting out the fear as best as we could, and wishing for some good news, something to hold on to. Each heartbeat echoed loudly, both in the room and within my chest. It mixed with my fears, making our world seem completely wrapped around that delicate sound. Each beat was like a tiny anchor for both of us as we tried to hold on. It was hard not to let the fears take over, but that steady rhythm kept our hope alive. We clung tightly to one another, searching for the strength that existed in our bond. Our eyes met and locked, and within that silent exchange was a promise of futures we couldn't entirely fathom. The connection between us provided an anchor, holding us steady. Even without words, there was a deep understanding of fear and hope combined in that moment. Suddenly, a contraction hit hard, stealing my breath away. The intensity was overwhelming, almost knocking me off balance. I gritted my teeth and tried to ride the wave of pain, giving it everything I had. It felt like a storm raging within me, but I was determined to push through. Each moment was a battle, but I wasn't ready to give in. As the nurses moved around me, their words were like distant echoes. Each phrase they uttered blended into the fog of pain I was struggling through. Derek stayed close, his presence a comforting anchor. We found solace in our connection, an unspoken strength holding us together. It was like we were facing a storm, yet gripping tightly to each other, bolstering our resolve to weather it. A doctor came back into the room, her clipboard held tightly. Her face mixed seriousness with a touch of kindness that I clung to. She started to explain calmly that they needed to run more tests. Her words danced around the room, adding a layer of understanding to the tension. Derek and I listened, our hearts heavy, but open to the trust we had to place in them. Derek gave a firm nod, his usual confidence slipping just for a second. But he remained steadfast, knowing we needed to lean on these professionals. His vulnerability showed, but didn't shake his determination. I admired his resilience as he conveyed his trust in their expertise. Both of us realized we had stepped into unknown territory. Our trust in the doctor became a lifeline in these uncertain moments. Derek's grip on my hand felt like an anchor, grounding me as we drifted in uncharted waters. The unknown loomed large, but his steady presence offered strength. Hope seemed fragile, hovering on the brink of reality, but it was still there. Every new development swung us between anxiety and reassurance, but together, we were ready to face whatever lay ahead. His touch reminded me we were not alone. Derek reached for his phone, dialing our family to share the news. His voice wavered a little, trying hard to stay calm. On the other end, the shock was clear as they tried to wrap their heads around what was happening. The news left them silent, grappling to understand. Derek struggled too, holding back his emotions. It was tough, but knowing they were informed gave us a slight comfort. As the room filled with the buzz of dedicated doctors and nurses, I focused on my breathing. Each inhale managed the terror lurking beneath the surface. Around me, medical staff worked swiftly, their determination solidifying our fragile hope. Derek remained my pillar, whispering encouragement. We were in the eye of the storm, trying not to give up on hope, holding it close as they moved about us. Time felt suspended, as if trapped in a slow-motion reel. I wanted time to move, to bring news, anything that would break this limbo. Derek sat near, whispering strength, even as we both felt the weight of helplessness bearing down. We fortified each other, hanging on every small sign, a promise of hope woven between moments of waiting. Together, we silently urged time to hurry and bring clarity. Our whole existence centered on that delicate hope, marinated in anticipation. The doctors returned, their faces laced with determination and empathy that both reassured and unnerved us. Our hearts echoed with each step they took nearer. The quiet firmness in their presence kept us focused, balancing on the edge of fear and expectation. Our world anticipated their words, holding our breaths, silently bracing for what would come next. The anticipation in the room was thick as Derek and I prepared ourselves for whatever news awaited us. We met each other's gaze, our shared determination bolstering our spirits. The gravity of our situation settled around us, but we faced it united, not letting it consume our strength. We were a team, bracing for the doctor's words to reveal their verdict, hoping it carried rays of light. The doctor spoke softly, and each word resonated clearly. She unveiled the unexpected, a rare condition affecting our baby's heart shape. It hit us like a wave, a mix of understanding and confusion taking hold. Derek and I absorbed the news, a swirl of emotions in our hearts. We blinked back tears, holding on tighter to one another, finding solace in shared strength and promising to navigate this together. As the news sank in, the realization hit hard that we needed specialists to care for our baby. The doctors worked quickly, reaching out to the best in the field. Moving through the hospital's maze of corridors, every step seemed to echo with urgency. Grateful for such immediate attention, we watched them with hopeful eyes. The weight of the situation was heavy, but knowing our child would receive top-notch care provided some comfort. It was like my feelings were all mixed up inside. I held on to Derek tightly, feeling both scared and a little bit relieved. His steady presence helped, grounding me in this whirlwind of emotions. The truth was hard to grasp, and the relief of answers mingled with the fear of the unknown. Together we took a breath, trying our best to understand this massive thing unfolding before us. The doctor spoke calmly, reassuring us about the care our baby would get. Her words were a lifeline, explaining how skilled her team was. She stressed the importance of the utmost care, reminding us that our situation wasn't entirely hopeless. As she spoke, Derek and I felt a tiny seed of hope growing. It gave us a new determination to focus on our child's future, buoyed by the promise of expert care. In the midst of everything, like being caught in the middle of a storm, our love stood as our greatest strength. Every shared glance and comforting word acted as a beacon, guiding us through the chaos and uncertainty surrounding us. Our situation felt heavy, each thought stretching far into the future. But with love, we fortified ourselves to face new challenges, ready to fight for our baby's health. Resolute in our love and determination, we braced ourselves for the bumpy path ahead. Hand in hand, we stepped forward into this unknown, ready to fight for the heart beating within our child. Though uncertainty shadowed us, our hearts brimmed with resolve and an unwavering commitment to our family. It was time for action, to do everything we could to support our little one. With faith in each other, we took that first step. The hospital turned into our new world, with corridors and doctors cycling through our days. Each medical staff member worked tirelessly on our baby's condition, showing incredible dedication. Through each test and every difficult moment, the love between us remained as a source of strength. The challenges felt endless, but with every challenge, we felt the power of our love growing, providing the courage needed to face whatever lay ahead. As the days turned into weeks, we saw progress, albeit slow, but it gave us a cautious hope. Each small improvement felt monumental, like the world was lifting a little bit. We faced each day as a test, thanks to the strength our family gave us. Our belief in our love and our child kept us buoyed, enabling us to weather each trial with resilience and optimism. Our friends and family rallied around, providing much-needed support and comfort. They surrounded us with warmth, their presence a gentle balm to our bruised spirits. Their visits and calls filled us with reassurance, reinforcing our vigilance over our precious daughter. Each shared smile and word reminded us of the power of community and the love we witnessed, framed every day as a cherished moment in this long, challenging journey. Though struggles abounded, our love remained unwavering, grounding us through each passing challenge. Daily reminders of our blessings and the power of perseverance surrounded us. The trials we faced only served to strengthen our resolve, helping us to greet each new dawn with steadfast hearts. Our journey was tough, but we held on to the love within our family, letting it guide us through, finding joy amidst adversity. In those moments, every heartbeat and smile of our baby became precious treasures, steeped in significance. Each experience brought us closer together, creating unbreakable bonds as we learned to navigate our new normal. As the clue of her condition unfolded, our strength and love grew even stronger. Together, we found a deep appreciation for every small victory, uniting us as a family in ways we'd never imagined. Things were really complicated once we got all the news about our little girl's condition. There was a rare trait that nobody had spotted before, not even the nurses. This only came to light when the specialists started checking on her. I was relieved that they figured it out sooner rather than later, because this set the stage for what we needed to do next. Their expertise gave us some hope, even if the situation felt really heavy. This new discovery meant we had to be even more careful. We had to watch closely and make sure everything was going okay. But the doctors and nurses were really good at what they did, and they stayed really positive about the future. They promised they'd take great care of her. It was tough, but their expertise gave us hope. Knowing we had help made us believe our little girl had a fighting chance. Everybody around us came together like never before. Our family was incredible, showing up and helping us with whatever we needed. Their love was like a blanket of comfort, easing some of the worry we felt. It was a tough road ahead, but with them by our side, it didn't feel as scary. Together, we knew we could take on the challenges that came, standing strong as a united family with courage. Even though we didn't have all the answers yet, love was what led us through everything. What started off as a nightmare had turned into a journey of hope and togetherness. It was like we were finding light even in the darkest days. This experience made us closer, teaching us to lean on love and each other. Our sweet little girl brought us all together, showing us that love was stronger than fear. With every sunrise, our little girl seemed a bit stronger. It may have been a slow journey, but we saw changes, little by little. She was a fighter, and seeing her get better made all of us so proud. We watched over her, smiling with every small victory. Her resilience gave us more faith in the future. It was inspiring, watching her grow under our watchful and loving eyes. We learned to embrace the new path we were on. Our family, stronger than ever, was tied together by these shared experiences. It was as if love had become our anchor during this stormy time. Holding tight to each other, we learned to steer through the challenges. Every step we took was full of love and admiration for our daughter. Newfound strengths emerged from bonds forged in the toughest of times. Looking toward the future, we felt a new kind of strength. There was a peaceful acceptance, knowing that this was now part of us. Each challenge became a chance to grow, shaping our dreams in unimaginable ways. Our journey made us see life differently, finding beauty and strength where once it seemed impossible. Together, we walked hand in hand, ready to face what came with newfound courage and peace. Every obstacle we overcame brought our family closer. What began as a tough and trying ordeal had grown into a testament of love and hope. The connection between us deepened, creating a tapestry woven with resilience and unity. Through each trial, our family held strong, finding joy and strength that weathered any storm. What started in hardship became a beautiful story of unwavering love. True closure wasn't found in endings, but in thriving together. Our sweet girl's laughter now filled our days, a melody reminding us of the triumph over adversity. The moments we'd wished for slowly became reality, and her joy was a daily reminder of how far we had come. Adaptation and thriving became our story, with everyday laughter and love marking our lives as full of light, having survived the storm.